Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about the sale of Treasury stock. Now you may recall I did a prior video about the purchase of Treasury stock, and you can find a link to that up here, and you can take a look at that if you don't remember that. I'm going to build on that transaction. In that transaction, a corporation had repurchased 1,000 shares from the market at a price of $12 per share, and that would have meant that the accounting for that was we debited our treasury stock, which is an contra owner's equity account. And again, watch that video for more detail on that. We debited the treasury stock for the $12,000 price, and we credited the cash for $12,000 because that cash was being paid out to whoever they bought the shares from. And remember, treasury stock is still issued. It's just not outstanding and therefore is not available to pay dividends upon, or it does not figure into the earnings per share calculations. So it is held by the company and can be resold. And today we're going to talk about that sale. But before we get to that, I want to mention that I believe something great is going to happen for you today. And now back to the video. Are you someone who finds that accounting is confusing and you're not sure your debits from your credits? Well, then if that's you, give this video a thumbs up. And that way I'll know how many of you need some additional assistance, and we can then go ahead and produce some more videos for you. So I thank you for that. Here, we're going to talk about treasury stock and the sale of treasury stock in particular. We're going to talk about three scenarios. If you recall, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this treasury stock is sitting in the treasury at a price of $12 per share. So in our first example, we're going to resell it at that exact same price, the $12 per share. The second example I'm going to do, they are going to resell the stock at $20 per share, with $8 per share more than they paid for it. And in the third example, we're going to sell those treasury shares at only $10 per share, which is, of course, $2 less than they paid for them. So let's dig into these. All right, in the first one, if we are selling it for $12 per share, that means we're going to receive $12 times, and we're selling 1,000 of these treasury shares. So that means cash-wise, we're going to receive $12,000. So my journal entry would show, well, let's go ahead and look at this first. We're going to then, for this example, we're going to debit our cash for $12,000, and we're going to credit our treasury stock for $12,000. And that's going to zero this out because all that will be gone. So let's show that as a journal entry. Cash, debit, and we always do the debits first, $12,000. And then we're going to credit treasury stock for $12,000. And that's all you need to do for that entry. Let's move on to the next entry. In the next entry, they are selling the treasury stock for $20 per share. In other words, the market value of this particular company's stock went up, and the company is going to take advantage of that. So it is $20 per share times the 1,000 shares they sell. So they are going to receive cash of $20,000. And so we're going to debit our cash for $20,000, and then we're going to credit treasury stock because the treasury stock goes away. It goes into somebody else's hands. However, we only have $12,000 worth of treasury stock in there. So once again, we're going to credit $12,000 to treasury stock. we need to balance this out, though. We still have an $8,000 difference. Well, that is going to go to an account called, and this is going to be a owner's equity account called Paid in Capital Treasury Stock. And that is where we're going to credit that additional $8,000. So for B, we still have the same $12,000 credit to Treasury Stock, but we have an additional credit of $8,000 to Paid in Capital Treasury Stock. And this is an owner's equity account. So that would balance the transaction then, because we still have the $12,000 going. Well, in that case, we actually have $20,000 going to the cash account. So $20,000 here, $12,000 here, $8,000 there. So far, so good. All right, and then the last one, they're going to sell it at a loss of only $10 per share because the market price went down, but they need to raise some cash anyway. So $10 per share times 1,000 shares, that means their cash they receive is only going to be $10,000. Always start with the debits. So we're going to debit cash for $10,000. And we're selling all 1,000 shares, so we still have to close out this Treasury Stock account. So we still have to credit Treasury Stock for that full $12,000. But we're not in balance. We still need $2,000 more as a debit. Where's that going to go? You're right. That's going to be that same Paid in Capital Treasury account, Treasury Stock, but we're going to, this case, we're going to debit it for $2,000. We're going to debit that. So Paid in Capital Treasury, and that's going to be for $2,000. And I should have lined that up better, but that's a debit, two debits that add up to $12,000, and a credit to Treasury Stock for $12,000. So now you know how to account for the sale of Treasury Stock, but there's a lot more that you need to know. So I would recommend that you go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. Until next time, thank you.